A very, very, very good afternoon, distinguished participants. Thank you for sparing time to be part of this Legacy webinar series. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Kindly do me a favor, share this link to all of your friends, share this link to all of your colleagues, share this link far and wide. It's going to be a very engaging afternoon. Yes, please share the link, share the link, share the link. Let's have as many participants as possible. Once again, you're welcome to this webinar. This webinar is proudly organized by the Emmanuel Egboga Foundation. And of course, we are thrilled to have you join us from all parts of the world, all parts of Nigeria, all parts of Africa. Of course, today we are focusing on African universities. So please share the link, share the link, share the link. I'm super excited about today's webinar. Of course, as you can see on your screen, the theme for today is on the screen: the fall of the ivory tower, how African universities failed Africa. So please share the link, share the link. But while you're sharing the link, just do me a favor, right? Do me a favor. Go to the chat box and drop your name and where you're joining us from. Just on the chat box, I want to know the part of Nigeria, the part of Africa you are joining us from. Of course, you understand that there are so many challenges Nigerian universities face. Probably you could also add the university you graduated from. Let's know the name of the university you graduated from and possibly a challenge that university faced, which you know. Just do me a favor and do that. While we admit other participants, kindly share the link far and wide. I want to assure you that for the next 2 hours, we will explore insightful perspectives, we'll share valuable knowledge, and engage in meaningful conversations. I'm so pleased to welcome Dr. Toyin Odutola from the University of Port Harcourt. Wow. Dr. Sarah Nwine from Petroleum Training Institute, Furon. Welcome. So probably you can also share, what challenge do you feel that your university has faced? What challenge have they faced? You could just drop in the chat box, because today we have an amazing personality who would do justice on the theme, the fall of the ivory tower, how African universities failed Africa. According to the 2024 Times Higher Education World Ranking, only 11 African universities are listed in the top 1,000, with the highest ranked institution being the University of Cape Town, which is at 167th position in Africa. Is that not quite amazing? Of course, it's saddening to know that Africa contributes less than 1% of the global research outputs, despite having 16% of the world's population. This indicates a significant gap in research and innovation that hinders development. So please do well to share the link, do well to share the link. Invite your colleagues, invite your friends from all parts of the world, all parts of Africa, because we are going to learn so much today. We are so pleased to have a thought leader, a think tank, who will be the keynote speaker for today. Of course, he's a professor of petroleum engineering and, of course, the vice chairman BOT of the Emmanuel Egboga Foundation. We say one welcome to Professor Joseph Ajenka, who will do justice to today's event. Professor Joe, a warm afternoon to you. Confirm you can hear me, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for welcoming me.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I will give a few safety brief, or you may call it housekeeping rules. Of course, the very first for today is, please, if you're driving, we kindly appeal that you park your car in a safe space, because today's engagement will be brain stimulating. Of course, you use the Q&A chat features. You can see it down there on your screen for your questions and, of course, your comments throughout the course of today's event. We also like to inform you that all of the recordings and, of course, the slide presentation will be available after 24 hours on www.emmanuelegbogafoundation.org. We kindly appeal that you visit in 24 hours to have a take on the slide. Okay, I see Chris Iguatu from Bonny Island. Welcome, Chris. We celebrate you. We celebrate you. I see Godfrey, who graduated from University of Benin. Welcome, 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 welcome. Please do me a favor, share the link far and wide. Of course, we have Dr. Emmanuel Okla joining from Edo State University. Welcome and welcome. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to switch gears immediately to recognizing some very key personalities that have joined us from all parts of Africa to be part of this event. We start by saying a warm welcome to our sponsors, our organizers. We speak of the management of the Emmanuel Egboga Foundation. We welcome all of the management. Thank you for being part of us, and thank you for making this event possible. We also say a warm welcome to the executive director of the foundation, Professor Wumi Eledare. Welcome, Prof. We celebrate you, sir. Confirm you can hear me, sir. Okay. Prof. Wumi is on the call. We welcome you, sir. We also say once again a welcome to our keynote speaker, who is the Vice Chairman BOT of the EEF, Professor Joseph Ajenka. Welcome, sir. We celebrate you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I can see you. You're with Professor Vincent. We celebrate you, Professor Vincent. Thank you for being part of us today. We also say a warm welcome to the webinar chair. Of course, he's the Chairman Board of Director, Petronet Africa Energy Resource Development Associates Limited. Welcome, Emeritus Professor Gabriel Falade. Welcome, sir. We celebrate you. Please confirm, can you hear me? Okay. Prof. Falade, confirm you can hear me. Okay. We also say a warm welcome to the manager of the Emmanuel Egboga Foundation, Dr. Susan Fubara. We celebrate you, ma'am. Confirm you can also hear me, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am.
I can hear you. Thank you so much, Akwan. Good afternoon, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you for all your contributions to the EEF. We welcome League of Friends of the Foundation. We welcome distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Please keep all of your comments coming. We welcome all of our distinguished guests. Emmanuel, we welcome everybody that is dropping comments. Godwin Igwe joining from US. He's a pioneer director from Uniport. Welcome. We celebrate you. My name is Ofofono Akman. My pleasure it is to serve as your master of ceremony for today. Speaking about the Emmanuel Egboga Foundation, this foundation was established in 2019 in honor of Dr. Emmanuel Egboga, OON. Of course, as you can see on your screen, we have key deliverables, which is dedicated to fostering knowledge and national capacity for managing petroleum and energy resources for optimal economic benefits and to maximize social welfare for Nigerian citizens. Should you have any kind of challenges, any kind of questions, kindly send an email to info@emmanuelegbogafoundation.org, and of course, it will be treated. Your Excellencies, very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are switching gears immediately to the welcome remark. Of course, the welcome remark will be given by the webinar chair. Please help me welcome the Chairman Board of Director, Petronet Africa Energy Resources Development Associate Limited, in the person of Emeritus Professor Gabriel Falade, as he gives us a remark. Stay glued. I'll be back. Professor Falade, the stage is yours now.
Started.
Okay.
Yes.
While we await Prof. Falade to give us the remark, I will keep on reading and welcoming our distinguished guests we have on the call. I asked a question earlier on. Let's know the university in Africa you graduated from. Yeah. Let's know the university.
Falade is ready.
Okay, Professor Falade is back. Okay.
Yeah, we're back.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said earlier on, our webinar chair is back to give us a brief welcome remark. Please help me welcome the Chairman Board of Director, Petronet Africa Energy Resources Development Associates Limited, Emeritus Professor Gabriel Falade, for his remark. Sir, please, the stage is yours once again.
Thank you very much for the wonderful introduction. I welcome all of you to this wonderful meeting. It's a meeting long waited for, And of course, all of you know why we're here. It's to celebrate basically the achievement of our member, very eminent member, who went to join the Lord a few years back. And believe me, considering what he has done in education industry, this webinar series is a well-deserved program for him. Today, we're going to be talking about something that's dear to him and to me and to all of us. Education in Nigeria at the university level is at its very critical stage. It's a critical stage that deserves the attention of all of us. Most of us who have spent most of our life, our creative years, in the so-called ivory tower, can feel very strongly the deficiencies that are prevailing in all our institutions today. Our eminent lecturer today is going to try at least to list and provide remedial action that will make and unmake those limitations that have been holding us back in the years. Nigeria is not a poor place, either in terms of knowledge or resources. We can do it and do it together in a very wonderful way. So I welcome all of you. Your contributions in many ways will be appreciated if you can participate very fully in this August meeting. Thank you for coming, and I hope you enjoyed the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Emeritus Professor Gabriel Falade, thank you so much. In his words, the African universities are in a very critical state, which deserves our attention. Today, we'll delve into the critical role of universities as elite think tanks, and of course, as catalysts for societal development. You will agree with me that African universities have not significantly impacted the continent's development. Of course, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in the next 45 minutes, our keynote speaker will share insightful perspectives on how African universities can drive creativity, how African universities can drive innovation, of course, as we progress towards sustainable development goals, and of course, the Great African Agenda 2063. I would like to remind you again, please use the Q&A chat features for your comments and of course your questions. We'll have this lecture for 45 minutes and then we'll give 15 minutes to take care of all of your questions. Let's know about the keynote speaker. Of course, to introduce the keynote speaker, I can't do that honors. Please help me welcome the Executive Director of the Emmanuel Igboga Foundation, Professor Wumi Eledari, as he introduces our keynote speaker. Prof. Wumi, the stage is yours, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. I hope you can hear me.
Loud and clear.
Thank you. Let me welcome guests and participants to this seminar. To speak to us for the next 45 minutes is a very distinguished personality, Professor Joseph Ajienka. He is the Emmanuel Igboga Chair and Professor of Petroleum Engineering and is a known university administrator. He is a fellow of several professional bodies and the Nigerian Academy of Engineering Inclusive. He is also a fellow of Nigerian Society of Engineers. He pioneered the development of entrepreneur university on the basis of Triple Helix Plus in Nigeria. He was awarded honorary degree of the IFP School, Paris in 2017. Professor Ajenka, the 7th Vice Chancellor of the University of Port Harcourt, was the pioneer director of the Institute of Petroleum Studies, University of Port Harcourt. He's an international administrator who pioneered this international collaborative graduate program between the University of Port Harcourt and the IFP School Paris in partnership with NMPC Total joint venture, the first example of a triple helix institution. He's a member of the governing council, governing board of African Virtual University, Kenya, chairman, Committee of Vice Chancellor of the Federal Universities and chairman, Association of Vice Chancellor of Nigeria from 2014 to 2015. He's a member of the board of National Universities Commission and the board of National Office of Technology Acquisition and Promotion. He is a member board of trustee of the Nigerian Society of Petroleum Engineers and a member of the African Regional Advisory Board and chairman board of trustees of the Nigerian Institution of Petroleum Engineers. He was the chairman of the technical board, NEDD NEWI of Nasene, managing consultant of the Petronet Africa, and the vice chairman, Emmanuel Boga Foundation. 2013, spent of America to come to Nigeria to introduce to you the Honorable Vice Chancellor, perhaps the most honorable Vice Chancellor to ever govern Nigeria University, Professor Joseph Ajenka. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation to deliver the keynote for this July seminar organized by the Emmanuel Boga Foundation, of which you are the Vice Chairman. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, eminent professor. We now listen to the very eminent professor who's going to give us, I mean, how would I call it now, an expose that will pick the mind of all of us, those of us who are interested in education in this country. Professor Joseph Ajenka.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Okay. Thank you. Let me just get to the first. The first slide. I'm sorry, let me just get to the first slide. So thank you very much, Professor Wumi, for the introduction. And thank you, Professor Falade, the first professor of petroleum engineering in Africa, our mentor. Let me just quickly get to the first slide so that I can start properly. Okay. It's a great honor for me to speak on this occasion, and many thanks to the patrons and friends of Emmanuel Boga Foundation. We also like to thank the family of Dr. E for their encouragement to keep the vision of Dr. E alive. I will make some preparatory remarks and then go on to the lecture. You get all the slides like the MC said. Africa had a very distinguished indigenous civilizations, and all these are shown here. Africa was a cradle of civilization. Africa grew in the knowledge of nature, and we grew from the knowledge of gods and goddesses to the knowledge of the one supreme God. Africa, through proverbs, parables, poetry, pictures of allegories, gave the world recognitions of natural laws of creation and very important recognitions and monuments. Africa gave the world 2 of the 7 wonders of architecture, 2 of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. We have the pyramids in Egypt, which was built, through precise knowledge of laws of nature, through trigonometry, and through that, the important mathematical symbol pi was also discovered. In the word trigonometry is a very sublime word called trigon, which is also related to the Trinity. Now, Africa gave the world the great Sphinx of Giza, one of the oldest monuments. And many people are not able to understand the origin of this. Now, if you look at the footnote, somebody, Herbert Fullman, in his book, Knowledge for the World of Tomorrow, had explained the origin of the Sphinx of Giza. And this was a knowledge Africans had even before the advent of Christianity. Africa gave the world this monument, the tower in Alexandria, in the harbor of Alexandria. At that time, very tall monument, engineering feats, So these are some of the contributions of Africa to the ancient world. And then, of course, the Library of Alexandria, one of the oldest libraries in the world. It was in Egypt. Egypt alone gave so much to the world at the time. So this is the Library of Alexandria. And then Africa gave the world obelisks. Obelisks. Something that was not very significant to civilization. You can see the one in Somalia and also the one in Egypt on the right-hand side. Here in Nigeria, there is in ECOM this what we call the ECOM monoliths. People do not really know these monuments and how these came to be in ECOM. And look at what is written about them. The Alok ECOM stone monoliths are silent guardians of a forgotten era, beckoning us to unravel their mysteries as we explore the intricate carvings, the cultural significance, and the ongoing efforts to preserve these ancient treasures. We gain greater appreciation for the rich history of Nigeria and Cameroon. These monoliths serve as a testament to the ingenuity, creativity, and resilience of the civilizations that came before us, and they inspire us to continue our quest for knowledge and understanding of our shared human heritage. And if you look at them very carefully, it appears these are drawings of nature beings etched on stone. Now, Africa is rich in art. The art of the people reflects their level of development, their perception of nature, and their depth, or shall we say their height of intuitive perception. We have the Nok culture, Igboku art, Benin and Ife art in Nigeria. So I'll just show you some pictures. This is Nok culture, 500 to 200 BC. Here is Igboku art, 19th century art. You can see the quality of art that emanated from Nigeria, and then Benin and Ife art. You can also see a lot about Benin. If you look at, on the right-hand side, the longest wall in history, it's not the Chinese one, but the wall in Benin, and was over 9,900 miles. And this, again, of course, we've lost most of these things. Then an artifact from Central Africa, a talisman stick, was known to be the first mathematical symbol. You know, this was discovered in Congo. In southeast of Nigeria, writing was also developing. This is called the NCBD ancient writing system. In the southeast of Nigeria, it was developing, and it is reported that if you go to Calabar, they have this cloth with these writings in the Obong of Calabar's palace. Of course, Mali was rich in gold. Mansa Musa was reported to be the richest man in the world at the time. His name was also written in maps of the world at that time. You can see 1339, a map where that indicated Mansa Musa. Africa was close to nature, and modern and African knowledge of nature and creation radiated into the world and enlightened the peoples. Growing naturally means growing upwards, responding to the attraction of the light, the way every plant behaves, what we call photosynthesis. Africans recognized a lot. We recognize the power of the moon, the sun, the stars. We recognize and revere the sky as proxy to heaven and proxy to the Creator, where the allegories of the sky and names are called out of that. Africans celebrated the rainbow, the symbol of the will of the Creator. And we even knew of the fallen archangel. The Egyptians called him Re, and later it was adulterated to Ra, the sun god. Africa had priest kings as leaders. You know, we don't just elect leaders. We knew the importance of leadership. And so, in everywhere a leader is to emerge, they consulted the seers and so on to guide them. And in that way, Africa was developing. Today, this has been distorted in the name of politics, dictatorships, and corruption. And we know that the fish always rots from the head. Africans knew the importance of true leadership. And the leaders essentially were called priest kings, you know, and this was well known to Africans, the importance of leadership. Africans had rich cultures, art, science, and religion. Africa gave the world the lunar calendar. You know, when you say somebody is a lunatic, you know, it draws from the word lunar. We gave the world lunar calendar and quite a lot of things, but we became lukewarm. And so visitors took advantage of our lukewarmness, and so they call it diplomacy. In the process, we fell into the hands of exploiters who pillaged Africa. Even today, some Western institutions and countries are scheming to pull down Africa to continue to make us the producers of raw material to fuel their economies. Now, African schools were centers of learning with the goal of seeking the truth. This year, I gave a lecture, the second Al-Kabulan lecture, and some of these things were emphasized. So, today, a lot of things are happening in Africa. We've gone from the old slave trade to the new slave trade. The new slave trade is what I may call the intellectual slavery. And we are running into it. Our universities are running into it when we say publish or perish. You know, and this is part of what, the things we like to emphasize today. Now, let me now get to the business. The oldest universities of the world are in Africa. University in Morocco, 859, and Al-Azhar University in Cairo, 970. After this, we had the University of Bologna in Italy, 1088, University of Oxford, 1096, University of Salamanca in Spain, 1134. However, the University of Bologna is reported to be the oldest university in continuous operation. And these universities, both of them had religious origin. And that, of course, is expected that knowledge started from religion, you know. So look at, this is my favorite slide I always show. Look at the map of the world. In those places where you see a lot of light, those are the places where you see some of the best higher education institutions. Those are the places you see the Nobel Prize winners and also the billionaires. Look at Africa, literally in the dark. So what can we do to light up Africa? This is a question every university as a think tank must engage itself with. What went wrong? Why did Africa that started the university system now is being described as a dark continent? How did the darkness overrun Africa? I had already discussed some of this in that Al-Kabula lecture. However, in Africa, you have the best Pentecostal churches. In Africa, we have in Nigeria, for instance, we have the Nollywood, which is reported to be third globally. Nigerians are above average educated group in the United States of America, and all over the world, Nigerians, for instance, are doing well. Africans are doing well. So how do we light up Africa and contribute to the sustainable development of the continent? So let us look at the evolution of the university mission. University started by teaching and learning to develop human capital. The second mission of higher education was research, and it was very revolutionary. The oldest universities did not accept that research should be adopted as a mission. And this is the beginning of the failure of higher education in Africa. We were content with teaching religious principles and so on. We were not able to quickly catch up with research as a second mission of higher education. Some of the universities abroad, Stanford and the rest, Cambridge, quickly catched on research as the second mission of higher education. And through that, they came up with discoveries, inventions, innovations, and so on. After this second mission was gradually adopted by the universities, a third mission now evolved called academic entrepreneurship. In other words, a lot of discoveries were made by universities through research, and so these discoveries needed to be made available to society to be commercialized. Again, many universities failed to catch up with this. Again, this is where African universities we started lacking. Now, there is competition for scarce resources. Reputation matters. University advancement strategies matter. You need to be able to cultivate people, to give you resources, funds, to continue to conduct research, continue to improve your university. Most African universities lacked advancement strategies. So all these factors combined to pull us down. It is because we were not able to look at the evolution of higher education and catch up with the developments. We didn't evolve the best policies and practices, and so we were gradually left behind. So if you look at the mission of the university, the third mission now became very critical. The mission of innovation, commercialization, and entrepreneurship. It would appear as if the African universities were not making progress, whereas most universities started moving away from the ivory tower and went into society, solved problems of society, became entrepreneurial universities who were still content with the first mission, at best the second mission. We discovered things from research. We did not take advantage of how to bring this to the public for the benefit of society. We did not build entrepreneurial ecosystems, innovation hubs. So this, again, all this contributed to the demise of African universities. Now innovation is key. Look at what Geoff Nicholson said. Research is a transformation of money into knowledge. And you need money to conduct research. You need to know how to attract the funds. Unfortunately, African universities, most of us were lacking in the ability to get grants to further our research agenda. Then he said, innovation is transformation of knowledge discovered through research into money or value. Again, we are lacking here. So you can begin to see the challenge of African universities and how we didn't keep pace with development. So how did Africa fare? I want to quickly give you some facts and figures. Look at ranking of universities, Shanghai ranking, one of the most prestigious ranking. If you look at the top 20, United States have 15, United Kingdom 3, France 2. If you look at the top 500, then you begin to see South Africa from the top 300. South Africa is the only African country that is listed. South Africa, if you look at the top 300, had 2. And then we began to increase. So South Africa universities are more like European universities, and so they were able to keep pace. But if you look at the metrics of innovation and all that, they were also still lagging behind. Now look at the ranking, 2023 ranking of all universities. United States 58, United Kingdom 28, and then you run down. You see South Africa 1. You are looking at the top 200. 1. So you can begin to see that we fail to catch up with the development of higher education. Now look at Nobel Prize. There is no greater accolade for scientific achievement than the Nobel Prize, awarded to almost 1,000 people and organizations since 1901. One of the most remarkable Nobel statistics is that 22% of winners have been Jewish, despite the Jews constituting only 0.2% of the world population. Jews all over the world, American Jews, European Jews, constitute 22%, a small tribe, group of people. Now look at the Nobel Prize laureates. United States, 383, United Kingdom, 132, Germany, 108, France, 68, and so on. All these are indicators of the contribution of higher education, contribution of research, and development of knowledge. Now look at this one. You can immediately see some statistics. You can see Europe 471. Don't forget the picture I showed you of those places where you have light and those places, Africa, where that was still dark. Africa has at that time, we had 16. Nigeria has 1 up to today. Wole Soyinka, Nobel Prize for Literature. The ones from scientific research came from South Africa, and a few from other areas like Kenya. Now, you can see now Nobel Prize winners according to universities. Harvard is #1 there, Columbia, and so on. You can see the Nobel Prize winners coming from universities. Again, we are not there. Like I said, Nigeria 1, and the rest of Africa about 16. Look at the high net worth individuals. North America is so high, you can see where Africa is. These are facts and figures. Now look at the university making effort to contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals. This is how you measure the impact of universities. Again, most of the African universities are not there. So how come the first is now the last in the knowledge economy? What did we fail to learn in the march of events? These are questions that should bother us. The fall of the ivory tower is reflected in the failure of higher education institutions, but we have failed to use our eyes to learn. European and American universities have since moved out of the ivory tower, contributing to the development of their countries. Their universities, most of them have become entrepreneurial universities. They know how to do this, and yet most of us are lagging behind. Now, this is also one of the things we fail to learn. Triple helix. This was discovered by these 2 professors, and the triple helix is a working together of higher education, industry, and government. Now, the first one, the status model, is a silo model where the 3 helices work independently. They don't even know what the right hand is doing. And this is what you see predominantly in underdeveloped economies. There's some bit of law of disorder. Then you go to the developing economies, there's some bit of relationship, laser-paired relationship. For the developed economies, where you have the top universities, there is proper balanced triple helix. The industry is interfacing with university, industry is interfacing with government, government is interfacing with university, and they all work together. This is one of the things we lack that has kept us where we are. Now, can we pass a vote of confidence on our universities? Here is an example. Theresa May, the Prime Minister of UK, was reported to have passed a vote of confidence on the UK universities when she was reported to have said that if Brexit fails, the UK university will bail them out. What gave her the confidence to say do so? Look at an economic impact report of Cambridge University. And this is done independently by a body called London Economics. If you look at this, I will not read everything to you, but just look at it. It is said the university's contribution to the UK economy is 4 times the Premier League. You can see the number of impressive statistics, the startup companies, the commercialization, the contribution of just one university to the UK economy. More than 4 times. Look at companies, startup companies that have evolved from research. We just conduct research and abandon and walk away. And there is record that a research done by University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital, the Chinese have turned it into a product. So why did we not learn to move along with the rest of the world? These are companies that evolved from just Cambridge. This is also the London Economics Report of Oxford, the same impressive profile. And this is the report of the contribution of higher education in the United States. They moved from research to invention to commercialization and for public use. Why are we not able to catch up in this trend? And this is part of this. So look at Africa. This slide shows a lot of opportunities and challenges. We need 57, Africa's digital readiness alone can create 57 million jobs, and we need this kind of skills. Our young population in Africa below 25 is 60%, and many of them are making waves. Unfortunately, if you cannot provide for them, they will emigrate to other countries. The valuation of Africa's e-learning market alone is estimated to be $1.8 billion. So some of these are opportunities for us to catch up with. Look at some of the universities in Africa. The top, of course, are in South Africa. University of Cape Town is always top ranked. Stellenbosch University, Wits, and so on. The Cape Coast, where Professor Wumi was also holding sway in petroleum economics, a few of them. However, when you come to Nigeria, you see Covenant University. So now something is beginning to happen. The private universities, I'm not holding brief for private universities, I'm not advertising them. Private universities are beginning to catch up with the trend, and I'll show you some more information. And now we're in the age of sustainable development, the age of knowledge and of the knowledge economy. How have we fared in Africa? This man, Jeffrey Sachs of Columbia University, wrote a book, The Age of Sustainable Development. We're in the 4th industrial revolution. We're in the digital age. The confluence of big data, artificial intelligence, and connectivity is creating new industries out of old industries. Are we going to be left behind? The signature tone of the new age is going green. People are going green in everything. So what do we do? So these are things we need to bear in mind. The new age is characterized by connection, cooperation, collaboration, and community. It's characterized by professionalism, partnerships, and platforms. Triple helix. The post-pandemic future of work also opens our eyes. And we are in the age of Industry 4.0. And we have moved from STEM to STEAM. Today, people are talking about STREAM. We need to catch up with the development. How come the first is now the last in the knowledge economy? What went wrong? What went wrong? What really happened? Why are we not able to catch up? Now, Professor Briggs, in a presentation, drew our attention to something very important. He said the motto of Harvard University is truth. He attended UNILAG, and the motto of UNILAG is indeed and in truth. And so we must begin to focus the mission of higher education to the pursuit of truth. And then when he made this presentation, I was there, then I asked him, what is the truth? What, in fact, who is the truth? The Almighty is the truth. Everything in education is the pursuit of knowledge of the Creator, His creation and His creatures. We need to understand the laws governing creation in every discipline so that we can make progress. This is again something we need to begin to refocus in Africa. The truth is eternal, it's comprehensive, it's evergreen, it's straight, it's complete. However, what happened? Again, this is something peculiar to us in Africa. We separated into religion and science, culture and art. If you talk about the best professor, once you talk about religion, he will become fanatical. The best professor, when it comes to culture, he will become fanatical. And so we separated religion from science, culture from art, living in silos. The same kind of silo mentality that has not allowed us to develop properly. Now, this big man, Albert Einstein, came to the rescue. He said, science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind. We must begin to blend things together because the truth is all embracing. And that is the only way we can begin to carry out our studies and develop. The truth is a reality. It is, I'm sure most of you must have heard about this allegory of the blind man feeling different parts of the elephant. But only the one-eyed man will see that it's an elephant. And this is what the truth is. In every study, we are trying to investigate the manifestation of the laws of the Almighty. But when we work together, we see from different perspectives and we see much better. So collaboration is key. Collaboration in research is key. Collaboration with companies, Helix is key. These are the things we miss. And I just drew our attention when we talk about truth, our anthems, old and new, highlighted the truth. It's always there. I don't know which one, the old one, now we have just said, help our youth the truth to know, to love, in love and honesty to grow, and living just and true. The new one now, the old one brought back, said, our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. So either in culture, in art, in science, we are to investigate the truth, the pursuit of truth, and only the truth can lead us out of this quagmire we are in. So we need to look at the features of entrepreneurial universities, right from the university leadership to the faculty, to knowledge transfer, to working with industry. We need to begin to refocus. Again, our research should begin to refocus. Research should be globally recognized and locally relevant. We have to solve problems of society. Our research should be strategically sustainable, and extensively collaborative across disciplines. This is the only way we can make progress. I'm already beginning to give you hints about how we can make things happen in Africa. We need to mainstream the sustainable development goals into the curriculum and the research agenda. We need to imbibe what universities in the world have imbibed, from discovery to product development to public use. This is the technology transfer process, which we are lacking in Africa. And then we need to move away from publish or perish to patent first before we publish, and then get products out of our research. And that is the only thing that can lead to prosperity of the universities and also our countries and Africa in general. So we need to go back to nature. We need to move out of the ivory tower to what I may call the emerald tower. We need to go green. We need to go back to nature. And so I'm an advocate of nature study. You see what this big man, Goethe, said about nature. If nature is your teacher, your soul will awaken. I advocate a new upbuilding of school and society through nature study for sustainable development. Now, some examples. AAU, Association of African Universities, is beginning to bring people together, experts in climate science, oceans, and so on, so that in working together, we can achieve better goals. There is Roof Forum, a capacity building program in agriculture. These are the kind of things that can help Africa. There is PASTEC, Partnership for Skills in Applied Sciences, Engineering and Technology, and Regional Scholarship for Innovation Fund. These are the kind of things that can help Africa to come out of the quagmire. Now, I just read this morning. This Ghanaian scholar, was sponsored by one of these, by PASTEC, and he made a breakthrough. Look at his thesis, optimization of arsenic and mercury removal from non-competitive and competitive suction systems into activated carbon. He finished his research. He made a lot of publications. His H-index rose. However, look at what I've highlighted. With the support of Doctors Grant from Carnegie Corporation of New York, Jonas' research led to the design and development of a dynamic batch absorption reactor. This innovative reactor can remediate various pollutants, particularly heavy metals, from aquatic environment, with applications in both laboratory and industrial scales. Now, this is a product. He had published paper. This thing now is in New York. It's not in Africa. This is the way we run into the new type of slavery. If our universities are positioned to exploit knowledge, to patent, to publish, and to produce things, then we will catch up with the rest of the world. But if we don't do this, they will leave us behind. And that will be the doom of Africa. Now, again, PASTEC scholars, look at this young man from Rwanda. His research led to an important development. But what are the products? So, a number of schemes are evolving in Africa to bring about regional collaboration. But we must pay attention to collaboration and development. Now, again, look at Nigerian universities. A lot of things are moving in the direction of private universities. The old federal state universities are not catching up. Private universities are on the increase, and some of them are doing well. I'll just give you some information. So these are the universities in different regions of the world, in Nigeria. And then, again, just to draw attention to a few private universities. I'm not trying to advertise private universities. I've declared the Covenant University is doing well. And then After Babalola University, for the first time in Nigeria, has an industrial park that has over 100 products. I hope that they will emphasize on research and move research to products. But they have shown an example. Ibadan, the oldest university, does not have an industrial park. Most of the Nigerian universities do not. After Babalola is showing us an example of how we can commercialize and take our rightful place in the economy. Now, Herbert Wigwe said this: I believe education is a major catalyst for growth in any economy. The African economy needs a new generation of bold leaders who are equipped with a strong moral fabric and the leadership toolkit to rebuild our continent. We need a system dedicated to incubating a new generation of innovative and fearless leaders. Unfortunately, it's not here. He was trying to build the Wigwe University with a very bold vision, entrepreneurial from the world. And then look at it, he was looking at the world-class faculty, future readiness, entrepreneurial opportunities, and transformative student experience. So the private universities are beginning to point us in the right direction. Look at technology hubs. This was published by Fabre, former Vice Chancellor of IFE. You can see in Southeast, UNN, one university in Southeast. You can see Southwest, Unilag, Covenant, OAU. I'm not too sure whether number 5 is Futa in Akure, but only very few universities are thinking of innovation hubs. We need to change our mindset and begin to think in that direction so that we can catch up. Now, some private investors are also trying to come in to help the university system, which is a welcome development, like Opolo Innovations, establishing innovation hub in some universities, including Ibadan, Ife, and so on, and Intech Energy Hub, also trying to do something. These are welcome developments, that we need to see. Look at notable data as our 2018 on patents. Covenant is on top there. They were leading as our 2018. So we must begin to think of patents before we publish and produce something out of it and learn from Afe Babalola University. There are inventors, Africans in the diaspora, African Americans that are known to be great inventors. It's not as if Africans cannot invent. There are also Nigerians. Look at Cyprian Emeka Uzo, a Nigerian with over 160 world patents. And look at it, Chinedu Echero, he sold an app to Apple for $1 billion since 2013. And of course, there are Nigerians doing well in America. Why can we not do well in Africa here? So everything, the way forward is that we must have a new mindset. Triple Helix will come to the rescue. A new school of creative thought, nature study for all building of school and society. We need to go back to nature, move out of the ivory tower, which has not helped us. Even the people who said ivory tower moved out, and we are still there. We need to contribute to the sustainable development of Africa in terms of Africa Agenda 2063. Coming back to this picture, I want to begin to end with this picture. I've said Nollywood, we are number 3 globally. So what can we learn from the creative industry? We need to look at the knowledge economy vis-a-vis religious economy and learn how to develop higher education to contribute to the development of Africa. Today, I can mention some few things we celebrate in Africa. Songhai Farm contributes to true sustainability and circular economy. Songhai Farm in Benin Republic and here and there states are establishing Songhai farms. Parks Herbal, an indigenous African herbal science and technology. We need to pay attention to indigenous knowledge and technology. So we need a change of mindset. We need to go back to nature study. We don't need to separate science and religion. We need to enhance academic innovation and productivity to develop the intellectual assets and harvest of creativity. We need to contribute to sustainable development of university and the nation and contribute to the growth of Africa. Unless we do this, we will fail. Yes, I said how we failed Africa. Universities failed Africa. But there is hope if we begin to learn the necessary lessons. So once again, I would like to thank you for attending and listening. All hope is not lost. We can learn a few things from other universities. We need to go back to nature study, to indigenous knowledge and technology. We need to practice triple helix. Government, university, and industry must work together to train responsible citizens, and people can conduct research. We need to know about commercialization of our research. And if we do so, perhaps we'll come back to reckon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this very, very intellectual discussion. Of course, when you were speaking, my mind went straight to a very, very, very interesting Bible passage, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Of course, Prof, you have just told us the truth. The truth is a combination of science, religion, culture, and art. Thank you so much. We need so much of the discussions. We need so much of collaborations for Africa to keep on moving in development. Thank you so much. Please, I want to see your comments. Drop your comments in the chat box. Let's see what you've learned. Science, religion, culture, art, all of this is an embodiment of the truth. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we are switching gears immediately to your questions, which of course, Prof will give you very apt answers. Please drop your comments. Go to the question and answer feature on the app. We want to see all of your questions. Of course, you want to know the truth. You're part of this webinar because you want to know how African universities can move forward. Thank you so much, Prof. Please, you want to drop your questions, drop your questions. You want to drop comments, I will be taking them for the next 15 minutes. I can see 76 able participants on this call. Please drop your comments, drop your questions. Of course, we would take them one after the other. Yes, let's see what your thoughts are. I believe your mind has been opened. Drop your comments, and we would take them one after the other. Thank you once again, Professor Ajenka, for that expository session. Of course, we are waiting for the questions and the comments. I think you can start with our able webinar chair. Professor Falade, do you have any comments on the truth?
Thank you. This has been an eye-opening, soul-searching delivery of a wonderful lecture. Like I said before, any person who has been in the university system for a long time will understand what our very able professor has just said. The soul-searching questions are, do we really understand the meaning of a university as it is in Nigeria today? Are we running a university system or just an employment center? Don't we need a major change of mind and direction? The issue is not much about money, but the quality of mind of people and who are heading and following the training program in the universities in Nigeria today. I think some of us who have been to other universities, we know how they run. University is not about getting a certificate. It's about training the mind to see your society and ask yourself, what can I do to make things better? That is the beginning of development. If your primary objection is to get a certificate from a university and look for a job, you are just looking for a training center, not a university. I would like to hear other people's views, particularly what are the ways forward to make our universities
Okay, thank you, Prof. Falade, for your comments. Thank you so much for your comments. Okay, we have quite a lot of questions. And while we head over to the questions, I'd like to most respectfully recognize the presence of the Vice Chancellor of the University of Port Harcourt, Professor George Will Owonari. Welcome so much, sir. We thank you for being part of this call. Okay, let's read the questions. The first question we have for you, sir, is from Jimmy Ahmed. He says, do we have too many universities in Nigeria? That's a question for you, Prof. That's the first question for you, Prof. And then the second question we have is for Toyin Odutola. I'm going to just read the questions so that you can take all of them together. How can the industry support? Why are the universities pushing back industry stakeholders from participating? As a way of comment, many students get frustrated by the university system such that by the time they get into the industry, they will not be willing to support a situation where students graduate and 2 years later, they are still chasing the results specific to graduate programs. So that question is actually from Toyin. We have another question from Obinda. Thank you so much, Prof. I have two questions. How could African universities, speaking of professors and lecturers, attract local businesses to invest in research? Could Nigerian professors start businesses like Prof. Roma to prove their validity of the inventions and discoveries? That's the question from Obinda. Let me ask another question from Monday Otabo. Prof, thank you for this masterpiece. Your presentation is a true beacon and great reflection of a failed system buried in complete fear and brainwash. And I will read the last question so you can take all of them together. This is from Tochuku. It's quite an interesting and eye-opening lecture. Thank you, Prof. My worry is actually the poor funding of research in Africa, particularly Nigeria. How do we manage this kind of situation of limited research funding? Okay, so I think we have wrapped up all of the questions. And I'll take the last question. I think something from Emmanuel Okla. So this is the last question. And of course, we wrap up for today. Please, if you have more questions, you send it via email to Emmanuel Foundation and it will be treated. Big thanks to the erudite Prof for his exposition. Sir, as we search for truth, we must realize that the owners of the universities in Africa are not keen to funding research, and without sound researchers, how can universities synergize the industry and make impact? So these are all of the questions for you, sir. Of course, we would love to hear your response to these questions.
Okay, thank you very much. I also saw some comments or questions by the erudite Professor Michael Onyekon. He talked about quality of leadership and lack of funds. I'll just take them quickly. Professor Falade had already said, do we really understand the meaning of a university? And no country can develop better than the higher education system. No country. And this is why the developed economies, for them, the first is education, second is education, third is education. But here we are, even those that have been trained by the universities, who are working in government and in industry, they devalue the knowledge coming from universities. When you talk, they say you are talking theory, and they don't look down on higher education. So Professor Nkom's question about quality of leadership and lack of funds, like I said, the true leadership is service. But if people come to the table with a selfish objective of what they can get, and they bring that also the kind of politics in this country to the university, of course the universities will not succeed. I've only drawn attention to some private universities where the people realize that they need to invest in higher education for the sole purpose of developing the quality of mind of the people and also learn from global best practice. Lack of funding, part of it, of course, we know we can continue to bemoan lack of funding, but I've also drawn attention to the fact that even we in the university must learn how to attract funding. There are grants, global grants, local grants. We must teach ourselves how to attract grants. And to be able to attract grants, it means you must understand the objective of the grant maker. You must understand that grants are not money they dash you. They want you to use the grant to solve problems. So if we are clear about solving problems, and we attract the grants, and we give proper accountability for the activities, then of course we can attract more grants. So part of the blame will also be on the part of the researchers. Then Dr. Odutola talked about how can industry support the universities, the kind of results and so on. At least we started gradually. For us to get the confidence of industry, my attitude is that I'm not going to go to an industry to beg for money, but I want to show to the industry what we have been able to do and can do, so that the industry itself will have some confidence in us and patronize us, so that we can work together and solve problems. And in that way, there are a few companies like Total, Shell here and there that have shown some example. And if we didn't disappoint them, of course, they will continue to come. So to attract industry support, we must learn to work with industry. Industry is not interested in bureaucracy, the delay in the civil service way of doing things. Industry has an objective, profitability, and productivity. So we need to also learn the way the industry works so that we can attract industry support. The industry itself, some of the IOCs, the international companies, they know how things are done in their countries. They should be able to replicate the same thing. I went to a particular company when I was vice chancellor. A colleague of mine developed a technique, a new technology that was making the company to save a lot of money in the operations. And I'm sorry to say, the attitude of the Nigerians in that company was very disappointing. An international company. So our colleagues in the industry must also know that those of us in higher education, we are there out of choice. We are not there because if all of us go to the industry, of course, there will be no university to train anybody, And so we must understand how the industry works. Industry must also understand. That is the concept of triple helix, people working together. Jimmy Ahmed asked the question, very important question, do we have too many universities in Nigeria? The answer, many people would say, is we have too many universities. But if you look at, if I may share, go back to the slide, I'll show you something in the slide. Anyway, when you get a slide, you will see a slide that shows the gap, the number of people looking for university admission, and the number of people universities are able to take every year shows a huge gap. The question people ask is, do we have the lecturers to run these universities? That is the question. As far as subscription to education is concerned, if you look at the JAM statistics, there's a huge gap between the number of applications and the spaces available. So there's a huge opportunity. And yes, we may not have all the lecturers to fill the place, so we need to think outside the box. What can we do? And this is the whole concept of Petronet Africa, for instance, pooling experts retired from industry, from university, and from government together. Experts, so that all these experts can offer their training to universities in a modular fashion. In that way, a lot more universities can benefit from it. But the older universities like Ibadan, the first generation, second generation universities should focus on training the right quality of manpower to take their place in the university. Then poor funding of research. Yes, there's poor funding of research, but we need to, like I said, learn the ropes to be able to attract national and international funding and support higher education. Since in the past 10 years, when Total invested in the IPS, we are beginning to see some little change here and there. But we hope it could be better, because the industry itself is not going to dash people money, but they must see that the money is used judiciously, and they see the results of our research endeavor, and these results are beneficial to industry. If we conduct research that is beneficial to industry, then industry, of course, gradually will have confidence in us and fund research. So these are some of the answers I can give for now. If there are more questions, like you said, if they are put on the chat box, we'll take time to answer them so that everybody gets the right answers. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. So we have a couple of questions. I'm going to read them out, and then we have 2 hands raised after we are done with the questions, about 4 of them.
Sorry, can we just take 1 or 2, because we have another program running late.
Okay, let's just take 2. We have a question from Professor Mike Onyekwon. He has a question. How has the quality of leadership in our universities and lack of funds contributed to our failure in Nigeria? That's the first question. The second question is from Prof. Audu. What is the readiness of educational regulators in governments towards driving these new narratives of transforming our ivory towers to the emeralds as presented? Those are the two questions from the both of them. Okay,
let me quickly. I've already addressed the question raised by Professor Ekong because I saw it on the chat box. Professor Ekong himself is an example of an entrepreneurial professor. It's an example from his research, from the research he conducted. He took this to industry and practiced. Today, he established a viable company that is offering services to industry. I'm not advertising him, but he's an example of a professor in the university that solved problems. And there are a few people like that. They solve problems. I also saw Professor Chidibe. This is one of the foremost professors in fact, a multidisciplinary professor. These are people who solve problems. And these problems are taken to town, to industry, to government. So we have a few examples to learn from. We should not, we in the university system, lose courage or just be apathetic that nothing's happening, so we just hold our hands. No. Like I said, I don't want to beg people for money. I want to demonstrate what we can do. And thank goodness we have demonstrated a little bit here and there, and gradually industry is gaining confidence. Then you talked about the regulators. The regulators, yes, if the regulators are not going to breathe down on you if you have a collaboration between you and industry. In fact, the regulators will welcome it. I was on the board of NUC. NUC will welcome the practice of triple helix. Triple helix. In fact, the University of Port Harcourt developed triple helix to triple helix plus. The plus in the sense that professional bodies, SPE, geosciences are part of this triple helix practice. People in Nigeria Institute of Management also teach in IPS. We also, like Professor Falade was saying, we are not just bothered at certificates. No, we are looking at industry-ready graduates, people with professional certification that they can practice hands-on. So gradually, NUC or the regulatory bodies will not be a hindrance. We need to work together. They are part of government in the triple helix. We need to work together. But the important thing for us is to realize that the ivory tower has collapsed, has fallen. We need to move out of it. The people who said ivory tower moved out, and they are contributing to the development of their societies. We are still in the ivory tower. We need to move out of it, solve real-life problems. Go back to nature, indigenous knowledge, indigenous technology. And in that way, we'll be respected in Africa and we can make progress. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. You have so many accolades on the chat box. We see Professor Iga, we see Professor Chidibe, thank you. We see Dr. Sarah Nwine, thank you. We are going to switch gears immediately to the closing remarks. But sir, please, I crave your indulgence for just, his hands has been raised for quite a while. We'd like that you kindly unmute your mic, Professor Mike Faborode, for your remark. And after that, we switch gears to the closing remark. Professor Mike, please, your hands have been raised. What would you like to say, please?
Oh, thank you very much.
Professor, please go on and unmute your mic and speak, please.
Yes, I hope I'm unmuted.
Yes, we hear you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the privilege of allowing me to ask make a very quick comment. I just want to congratulate the Google Foundation for this very laudable lecture series that they have been giving. And this one is particularly very intriguing, very interesting. And Professor Ajenka has done justice to the way he framed the issue. I was just hoping that we agree that ivory towers have failed, and but why have they really failed? I think the questions have treated it that it's not only in their own act, but also the act of others, both external and internal factors. And I think he has done very good justice to this. I don't want to belabor the point again, just to congratulate him and the organizers for this very laudable event. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Okay.
MC, I need to say something.
Okay.
Remember, in one of my slides, I pointed to what Professor Faborede had done. He was Secretary General of the Committee of Vice Chancellors and Pro-Chancellors for many years. He was Vice Chancellor at Obafemi Awolowo University. He is an advocate of triple helix. Together, the Nigerian Academy of Engineering also had a workshop emphasizing this at NUC. The people in NUC were very excited about it, so there's no problem at all. You know, and I hope Professor Faborede will continue to propagate this so that this message will go around our universities. The Academy of Engineering is also coming up with action points on that. And this kind of webinar is part of what Professor Faborede has put together. Thank you very much, Professor Faborede.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Your Excellencies, very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I see so many comments on the chat box asking and requesting for the slides and the recordings. Please kindly visit our website, emmanueligbogafoundation.org, and you would have this in 24 hours. We'll switch gears immediately to the closing remarks. Who else will do it than our amiable prof? Of course, the Executive Director of the Emmanuel Igboga Foundation. Please help me welcome Professor Wumi Eledare as he gives us the closing remark. Prof, the stage is yours, sir.
Oh, thank you very much, Professor Ajenka. And let me also express thanks to our chairman and the participants. Let me also take this time to thank our project manager, Dr. Susan, for putting this together. It is just unbelievable that this is our 5th anniversary that this foundation was established. And every year we've given almost about 4 seminars. We must acknowledge all of you, especially our cheerleaders like Professor Chidi Ibe, Professor Dusumo, Professor Mike Onyekan, and many of you. It is also important for us to acknowledge the University of Port Harcourt Vice Chancellor, especially the current one, for supporting this vision and lending his support, attending our organization. So also the Vice Chancellor for Research and other University of Port Harcourt staff. Yes, our objective is to keep on the radar the philosophy of the late Dr. Emmanuel Igboga, which is prosperity without posterity is inconsequential. And it is that belief in posterity that drives the agenda of EEF. Our objective is to continue to advocate an effective, efficient, equitable, and ethical petroleum policy and petroleum economic framework for Nigeria. I will continue to turn that wheel until that wheel can turn itself. We cannot indeed express our thanks for your support over the last 5 years of our existence. We must also acknowledge some industry support, because on September 10, we are going to have our 16 or so annual Emmanuel Igboga lecture series at the University of Port Harcourt Emerald Energy Institute Auditorium, which is actually named after him. It's called the Emmanuel Igboga Auditorium, and we welcome you. The event is going to be hybrid, and then Dr. Timothy Okon will be our guest speaker, which is going to focus on the use of petroleum revenue for sustainable economic development, and not necessarily for sharing and for again, no nation can we could see our university system is not necessarily doing what it is supposed to do. So I thank you very much, and I hope you've had me. because I'm using two systems. One of it was unmuted while I was speaking, and I could hear the conversation. We cannot express our thanks enough for the support we've received from you. Let me acknowledge Walter Smith, let me New Cross, let me recognize 4CMP and many other companies that have supported us. And you can be sure that we continue to do justice to advocating effective petroleum economic and policy for sustainable development in Nigeria. It is also appropriate to acknowledge the family of Dr. Emmanuel Egboga for their support. Thank you very much again. We look forward to seeing you on September 10th. We emphasize the use of petroleum economic rent for sustainable national development. The Lord be with you, and we thank you very much.
Amen.
Thank you, Executive Director of the Emmanuel Egboga Foundation. Thank you for your sterling leadership. We celebrate you, and of course, see you all on the 10th of September. Please mark your calendars. We will all be at Port Harcourt. Of course, it's going to be a hybrid event for the 13th Emmanuel Egboga Legacy Lecture Series. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this event will have Dr. Tim Okon as the keynote speaker. Until we see you on the 10th of September, my name is Ofofonono Akpan. Thank you, Dr. Susan Fubara. Thank you to all our distinguished, about 16 participants here on the call. Thank you. We also advise in 24 hours, visit our website and you will have the presentation slides. Thank you and see you next time. Bye for now.